Kelli Anderson is a career and mindset coach currently helping women build a work life they love. As the founder of Mindset Mamas, Kelli has led dozens of women to leave unsatisfying work situations and start careers and businesses that make them feel fulfilled while building their confidence along the way. Kelli has been featured in Women's Day and Today Parents, among other publications and media outlets. Let's meet our guest. Hi, Kelli. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Ryan. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I appreciate you coming on today, especially when we're coming out of this pandemic, where I have been experiencing conversations with friends and moms about their career, their mindset, what's happening now with the pandemic. People are moving in and out of places. So I would just love to talk to you about Mindset Mamas and why and how you created it.
Absolutely. Mindset Mamas has been, I will say, a work in progress for several years now. I really struggled in my career where I was always in roles that I thought I liked, but within 18 months or 2 years, I was looking to move on. I got that urge to move on to the next thing. And I really thought something was wrong with me. Why can everyone else stay in jobs longer? And for me, I just felt like I continued to need a change. And finally, when I had my son, I decided, I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit and have always wanted to start something new. And so I decided to start a copywriting business. I'm a great writer. So I thought, all right, this will be it. This is my route. And with starting my own business, I hired a business coach, and the business coach came with a mindset coach. So it was kind of like a 2-in-1 deal. And at the time, I'm like, mindset? I didn't even know what mindset really was. No one was really talking about it. And really mindset and changing my mindset and moving on to more of a growth mindset rather than a fixed one literally changed my business and changed my life. And there was something special within the whole mindset space, which is really just how you think and what you believe. And so I decided to try to help other moms in this mindset space. Fast forward a few years, and we are now helping moms with their careers, figuring out what they're supposed to be doing in their careers, what's fulfilling, and doing so with an emphasis on using mindset as the driver. And I am finally in my dream career, which took forever to get to, but it's because I was finally able to figure out what made me feel fulfilled. And it's this whole career mindset coaching space. So that's what I'm helping moms do now, is figure out what it is they're meant to be doing. Are they feeling fulfilled in what they're doing? How to navigate that. And again, using our mindset as the driver for that.
So I'm just curious to know then, do you have mostly mothers who are re-entering the workforce? Do you find mothers who are making a big career change? What is the most common need that you're finding right now?
So it's both. I wish that I could say we have this one specific niche that we're working within, but we're actually working within it's any mom that is feeling stuck in their career. So that might be you are re-entering the workforce and you have no idea sort of which way to get into what you want to be doing. It may be that you are stuck in a corporate job and you're miserable, but you have no idea really the direction that you want to go. We also work with moms who are business owners or want to be business owners that don't fully kind of have it together, I guess. They started their business or they want to start a business, but it's not necessarily going the way that they thought that it would. And so it's taking a step back and really helping them define what it is that they're offering and making sure that it is something that's fulfilling them rather than just another job, another thing on their to-do list that they wake up and dread going to work. So it's less about moms going into the workforce or wanting to change jobs, and really more about how they feel. They're all in this place where they're feeling really stuck where they are.
That's important to touch upon, because when you feel stuck, I feel like the moment when you come out of it is actually where your passions are. I find a lot of women, when they're deciding what they're going to do next and how they're going to transition, it's always that aha moment. I mean, I'm sure if you asked one of us 10 years ago if we thought you would be a mindset mothering coach or I would own a nanny agency, that was not ever part of the agenda, right? Or that was never part of our dreams or goals, right? And I find that most people that land in the place that they're supposed to be and fulfilling their passions, my dad always said, find something you're passionate about and the rest will fall into place, usually gets discovered along your journey. Are you finding that as well, that women, when they're choosing something, that it's like, oh, wow, I never even knew that I could lean into this and make a career out of this?
1,001%. Yes. So what we like to do, and I think this is really, really important, is the first step. Most people come to us and they say, I need my resume redone, or I need to learn how to network on LinkedIn, or I am currently in this role and I'm looking for a job, within the same scope, but maybe a different company, or I don't like my boss, or whatever it may be. And the very first thing we do is we say we have to take a major step back. We have to do some self-discovery in order to figure out, are you on that right path? Because if we just update your resume and you go and you start applying to every job out there, you will be stuck in this same situation within a few months, a year, 2 years, whatever it may be. So that's really what we're trying to avoid, is being stuck, starting something new, because this is what I did for most of my career, and then feeling stuck again, right? And so it is so important that we take that big step back to find that aha moment. But the most important thing is that we keep a really, really open mind. So most people will say, well, what I'd really like to do, or what I really think I'm good at, is this, but there's no way I could make a career out of it. And so what I like to say is, well, why not? And then they give you all the excuses, right, as to why that will never work. And my job is to really start to break that down and bring in a different perspective, but without taking those self-discovery steps, you will never be able to have those aha moments that get you where you need to be to actually find your dream career. And with that, I will say it's really important that some people put so much pressure on themselves to figure out their dream career for the rest of their life, right? I'm 37 years old. I would love to be doing this the rest of my life, but I don't know. 10 years from now, maybe I'm led into, another direction. For you, you own a nanny agency, which you never thought you would be doing. But now you're doing this amazing podcast. You probably never thought you'd be doing that. So we have to stop putting so much pressure on ourselves to figure it out for the rest of our lives, and instead say, what is next on my journey? And be really, really open to the possibilities of what that means.
I think that's an awesome thing to bring out, because I joke with my husband, like, I want to reinvent myself every decade. I mean, we get so many decades to explore and do things, and we're all multi-talented people, all of us. And it's just stepping into those moments and discovering that. And so I want to talk about more mindset. What is mindset and why does it really matter?
Mindset is everything. Mindset is what you think every single day, every single minute of every single day. It's what you believe. It is so a little lesson, because I think that this might help a little bit. So Carol Dweck wrote a book called Mindset. That's what it's called. It's called Mindset. And I highly recommend it to anyone interested in learning more about this. But what she said is we all have a certain type of mindset. You can have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is really when you think you are born with things you're really good at and things you're really bad at. And you don't really believe that you can do anything to change that. So an example would be, I am really terrible at math. And so I just say, all right, I'm not a math person. I will never do anything related to math. I can't grow my abilities in math, so I do nothing in that space. A growth mindset, on the other hand, says, I may not be great at math right now, but I have the ability to get better at math and grow in math. And so we all have a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And it doesn't mean that in every single space we're one or the other, but the idea is to try to move from a fixed to a growth mindset in as many areas of your life as possible. And so that's really what I'm trying to help women do when it comes to their mindset, is say, all right, I'm not I want to be a lawyer, but I don't know anything about law. I could never do this. I'm not good at it. That right there is a fixed mindset. Taking them to a growth mindset would be, I'm not great at it right now, but what are the steps I could take to get better and better and better, right? So that's just one component of mindset, but it's a really, really important part, is doing whatever you can to use that growth mindset to help you grow as a person. But mindset is really, it is what you believe you can do, who you believe you can be. And we all have these stories that we tell ourselves every single day. And if the story is, I can't, I'm not good at, then guess what? You won't be able to, and you won't be good at. But if the story that you're telling yourself is one of possibility and opportunity, then if you continue that story in your head, you continue that thinking, you will actually become that. And that's where sort of the magic happens, I think, is we have a lot of control over our thinking. We have a lot of control over our emotions, but most people, either they're unaware that they have control over this, or they're just not willing. And so opening up to that is so liberating and refreshing, because you start to realize you can create what you want to create in life by changing your mindset.
I think that's a great point to bring up, because there's a lot of what I call like popular words floating around right now, as in, I love conscious parenting. I love mindset. Those feel real and tangible to me. And I think a lot of people confuse that with toxic positivity. That's not waking up every day and saying, everything's rainbows and butterflies and nothing's happening to me and hunky-dory. I mean, that's not reality. And then also too, on the flip side, we have now this phrase of imposter syndrome, right? Where, okay, everybody doesn't need to walk around thinking they're a fraud. It's okay to be nervous about things. It's okay to feel inadequate in that moment, because you haven't had enough preparation to feel confident in those areas. And that is normal. And I think what is beautiful about mindset is actually having moments where you can say and own those things, like, I may not be ready for this now, but I'm going to be. Or this excites me, or this possibility makes me feel something more than, ugh. And so that's what I love about mindset. And it is a training and it is a process. And that's why I want to transition into talking about having a coach or a mentor. Everyone talks about, oh, let's have a therapist and my therapist will help me work through these things. Well, that's wonderful. I believe in therapy for everybody. But what about having a coach and a mentor in your life? I know it's changed my life having different coaches for personal things and professional things. So let's talk about that.
It's so important. If you would have told me even 5 years ago that I would have a coach and, coaches would change my life and I would spend money and invest in myself in that way, I would have laughed at you. Same as that, I would have a company called Mindset Mamas and be doing this, right? But coaches, and I think that this is another sort of trendy or commercialized term, and so it sometimes turns people off. And so I love the word mentor. You use the word mentor as well. So when you go to therapy, and I want to be very clear that I think therapy is incredibly important, and I would never tell someone not to go that route. But there are differences. So when you go to a therapist, a lot of times you are sitting there and someone is listening to you, right? And you're working it out on your own in a way. When you go to a coach, that is still happening, and listening is a huge part of it, but you're also gaining a lot of guidance and support. I like to tell my clients that I am a little bit of each of these. I am a guide to them. I am a coach. I am their biggest cheerleader. I'm the kick in the butt that they need, right? I am their accountability partner. So I serve as all of those things. And I'm also a mom. I'm a working mom. So I relate to what they're experiencing on a daily basis. I think what's really important is that as moms, we think that we can handle it all and do it all, and that we don't need help. We don't need support or a partnership. And it is completely false. If you bring someone besides your partner, your spouse, or a best friend who knows you, if you bring someone from the complete outside into your life, especially when it comes to your career, and you use this person to help guide you into making the right decision for you, it makes all the difference in the world. I look at myself when I've not had a coach compared to when I do have a coach, and I'm a whole different person, because not only was I able to find support, but I was able to find confidence in myself. It's almost like that extra little push that you need from someone when all of that doubt comes in, when you start to sort of self-sabotage and fear creeps in, and all of those things. You have someone in your corner to say, no, let's take a step back, let's look at a different perspective, and let's get through this. Rather than letting that wall be a wall that stops you, we let it be a door that instead you can open. So a coach, I think, helps do that more than anyone else that you will talk to.
And I think it's important as women to have cheerleaders in your life, whether it's a coach or a friend. I mean, think about it. When we wake up every day, we could have 100 limiting beliefs by 10 a.m. And if you don't have somebody that you can turn to or talk to that really believes in you as much as you believe in yourself, because when you are a mother, you all of a sudden have doubts about parenting, about business, about life, about mothering, about cooking, about being, just a good friend, a good enough friend, about being a great enough wife. So there's all of these moments where you're like, I swear, by 10 a.m., I'm like, all of these things have already come in and I have to like reset and reframe myself. So let's transition then to work-life balance, because I think that is something that a lot of women struggle with. And I've given talks on this and I still struggle with it. So I would love to just, get your thoughts on work-life balance.
Work-life balance doesn't exist for moms. That's how I feel. I instead like to use the word or the phrase work-life integration. We live in a world where we cannot separate the two, unfortunately. And too many moms are trying to separate the two. And with that, it's just causing so much frustration and more feelings of inadequacy and more feelings of I should be able to do this and instead I can't. And that's where mom guilt really, really comes in. You cannot focus all of your time on work and then shut it off at 4 or 5 o'clock and then focus on your kids. We have smartphones, we have email that's always popping in. And so instead of focusing so much on this balance, it's time that we start to just integrate the two. And especially in this past, year plus that we've had, where parents are trying to navigate, school for their kids at home and dealing with, what this whole pandemic has meant and how to approach it with their kids and how to approach it within themselves and then how to go to work and shut all of that off. It's just impossible to do. Work-life integration allows you to be present in both spaces throughout the day. So, at 7 a.m., your kids may wake up and you're getting them off to school, and whether that's to a physical building or whether that's in front of a computer. And then maybe you spend 45 minutes focused on work. And then you have a child that comes in and they need your attention, they need a snack, whatever it might be. And you shut off work for a few minutes and you go into mom mode. And then you go back into work mode, hopefully for a couple of hours, and then you shut it off. And instead of feeling like you do have to always separate the two, embrace the two coming together, because I can tell you we will never go back to this, you go to work, you come home. It's just our world has changed way too much. And so it is time to start focusing instead on integrating work and life and instead of trying to separate them and find a balance between the two.
I just sighed like a huge sigh of relief right now. I'm going to be using that work-life integration because it's 9 to 9 for me. There's no such thing as 9 to 5 anymore. In fact, it's 7 a.m. if I'm really being honest, to 11 p.m. because I work after my children go to bed, because that's when I can focus the best, when it's quiet and nobody needs me. So I think, focusing on being present in those moments as much as you can be, which is also hard, as a working mom, because, my thoughts are always thinking about something else, right? The next thing, moms are always 3 to 4 steps ahead. So I think that's really important to touch upon. And I just, working with working moms, what is a mistake that you think most working moms make?
The number one mistake that working moms make is not making themselves a priority. So we cannot be the best mom, the best partner, the best employee, the best boss if we do not prioritize ourselves first. And somewhere along the line, society told us that we needed to put everyone else in front of ourselves, and that when you do that, you will be supermom. And instead, what's happened is we have put everyone above ourselves. And not only do we suffer, but this is the part that I think women don't understand. Everyone else around you suffers too. So, and let me be clear, making yourself a priority doesn't mean like going to get a massage every 2 weeks. I think this whole self-care is another space where It's really become this commercialized term where people think that they need to take baths every night and go get a massage, right? It's like self-care is really just focusing on yourself for maybe 10 minutes at a time. And that's manageable for moms, right? That is if a mother comes to me, even as a working mom, and says, I can't find 10 minutes for myself, then I'm going to say, all right, stop right there. We're talking about how you can find 10 minutes for yourself. And 10 minutes might be listening to something on Audible. It might be sitting down and literally sitting in silence for 10 minutes. It might be getting on the floor and playing with your kids for 10 minutes because you don't feel like you have time to do that. But when we don't make ourselves a priority, we are not just affecting ourselves, but we are affecting everyone else around us. And all our kids want is to see mom really happy. That's all they want. They look up to us. And when we can't show our kids that we are not drowning in everything else, like what example is that setting? And so I think that a lot of moms recognize, yes, I need to make myself a priority, but they don't actually step in and make that happen because they think that they're the only one it benefits, when in reality, it benefits your kids as well.
I think that's important to talk about the excuses that we make as mothers, not to beat ourselves up, but I can't tell you for how long I didn't do self-care, the self-care that I needed. I know now that I need at least 20 minutes of sweating or exercise, and I even put it off just up until a week ago again for a month because I wanted to spend time with my kids. But what I found out is that while I'm riding the Peloton for 20 minutes, my daughter is sitting and asking me questions, and then she's reading books for 20 minutes and smiling at me. There was nothing more fulfilling than when she put her little water bottle next to mine on the bike and walked over, grabbed her book, sat down, and just watched and listened to the fun music I was listening to. And while that may not feel like a bonding moment, it was. She had so many questions. She wanted to know about the songs. She likes Broadway music. And I didn't find it. I thought, oh no, that could maybe, I need my me time. It actually was more fulfilling having her there than riding alone, because we were, together bonding over The Lion King and Hamilton and all these other things that are really fun for me. So I think if we set ourselves up with that mindset again of like creating space to flourish in, that doesn't look like a cookie cutter thing of I have to do this, I have to be alone, I have to do it at this time. I think that helps as well,
Ryan, I think that you couldn't have said it better right there. I mean, it is getting out of the box, right? It is getting out of that, like you said, that cookie cutter, this is what it has to look like. No, make it work for you. My son does the same thing. He will come and he'll say, Mommy, can I exercise with you? Sure, that's great. He lasts about 5 minutes, but it is a bonding moment. But it's self-care for me. It's making me a priority while also spending a little time with him. And I think that where moms struggle is they're trying to fit into what someone else is doing, right? You see these videos on whatever, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and you see moms that have these perfect bodies and they're, doing like lunges in their kitchen and they're smiling the whole time they're doing it. And then you go to do it. And, I don't know about you. I have a 4-year-old and I have a son that's a year and a half. My 4-year-old will do it with me or he'll go do his own thing. But my little one that's like a year and a half, he is literally on top of me. And so then I think moms get frustrated, right? They're like, I want to do the lunges in the kitchen and get my little workout in. And in reality, they can't. So what can you do? What can you do with your specific family, with your schedule, what works for you? Is it sitting down and reading a book, or is it listening to a book on Audible? Is it going to the gym, or is it taking a 20-minute walk in the stroller? Let's just integrate it into your work life as well. So if you need to take a 20-minute break to go take a walk during the workday, go do it. If you need to bring your kid with you and put them in the stroller, then do it. It's just about making yourself a priority in these 10-minute spurts throughout the day that make you feel good. That's it. That's it. The only requirement is that it makes you feel good.
I love that. I love that. Making more choices in my day that make me feel good, because there is a lot of opportunity for that. And there's also a lot of opportunity to say no, which I think is another thing that moms forget. We have the power to say, because a lot of times we are programmed to be people pleasers. And so saying no and creating more time. Kelli, I was wondering if there's anything else you want to add to our conversation and that you think is really important for our listeners to hear.
I think that the whole saying no thing is critical. I wish that 5 years ago, even probably a year ago, I would have allowed myself to say no a little bit more. You know, decluttering our lives and our minds is really, really important. We bring so much in to our life, so much stuff, so many ideas, so many responsibilities, but we never sort of start to let go of things. So by saying no, by journaling, by removing stuff from our lives that we don't really need, we actually make space for new things and new ideas and new thoughts and new opportunities to come up. And I think that that is so critical as we're trying to focus on mindset and make changes in our life that are really going to stick, whether that's in a career or some other space in your life. But the more that you can sort of say no and declutter, the more room there is for more to come to you.
Amazing, Kelli. Thank you so much. I'm going to be working on creating more space in my life this week, and I appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Thanks so much for listening today. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode and you had some great aha moments. I am so passionate about empowering women, and I can't thank you enough for your support. If you know an inspiring mama or you are an inspiring mama, send them our way. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday, and please like, follow, and subscribe to The Educated Mama. Write a review, leave us a comment, share this podcast with your friends. I'm Ryan Jordan, founder and CEO of Educated Nannies. You got this, mama.